Just going into, I'm going to talk about our transformation, but I'm going to start just introducing the agency a little bit to you. Who are we? What do we do? So the Swedish E-health agency, we're the government agency for national digital infrastructure in the health and welfare sector. So what we do is we create opportunities for digital services in the sector. It's a new word. My colleague Yuki has learned. We are working with the sector. Do you know about the SKR? Sveriges regioner och inte landsting, regioner och kommuner. So they're sort of working together with a lot of regions out there to provide health and welfare to us, citizens. And we are providing the infrastructure for them to exchange information. It started out 2014 and it was after the pharmacy market was deregulated. There was a need to keep the data, the prescriptions safe. So there was a company created called Apoteket AB, a state company. And from that, eventually, this agency was formed. And it runs under the Ministry of Health and Social Affairs. It's medium-sized. We're currently, we looked it up yesterday, isn't it? Yeah. So about 520 people, plus consultants, maybe 100 consultants. When I joined 8 months ago, we were 400 something. Last year, we hired 120 people. We're growing, and we're growing fast. Headquarters are in Kalmar, south of Sweden, and then we have a big office in Stockholm as well. And right now we're growing more in Stockholm than in Kalmar because we're sort of running out of people in the south of Sweden to hire, more or less. What we're doing sort of is we're focusing on this digital infrastructure so that others better can exchange information, so that I and you and everyone in Sweden can actually get better help. Even if we were focusing on pharmaceutical market from the beginning, we are getting a bigger and bigger ask from the government. So we're getting new assignments. The expectations on us to deliver are high, and we are also, of course, then getting more money to do this, which means we are hiring more people, and all of this is moving very, very fast. So we're having fun every day, actually. We are also, don't know if you heard about that, but we're not only now focusing on the infrastructure within Sweden, we're also moving into EU. With the European Health Data Space, we need to make sure that your information is accessible within the EU. So if you are like vacationing in Spain and you're running out of your meds, you should be able to go into the pharmacy and get them out. And we need to work with others in order to get that infrastructure in place, acting sort of like a switchboard. So where do I go to find information about this specific person? Where do I ask for the data? So we're not holding the data, just making it findable. And what we are doing also is, because maybe you know that with the regions out there, they are supposed to be decentralized, running their own business, making their own decisions. So there is no common language. They're solving problems their own way. So we are sort of taking that back a little bit, saying that we have to have standards. We have to be able to exchange data. So one of the things might be that in order for you to get a knee surgery, if your region does not have a place in the queue, you should be able to go to a different region. But for you to do that, and that's by law, you should be able to do that. But for that to happen, we need to know that there is room in a queue in a different region, right? And we are supposed to make that infrastructure happen, for that to happen. So sort of focusing on creating conditions for innovation and for new services to be developed out there. So we are in a very high speed, interesting environment in this agency. It's only 10 years old. I joined the celebration, just before the celebrations in August I joined. So with that, shouldn't transformation be quite easy? Why didn't they do it in the first place, 10 years ago? Well, 2 years ago, 2.5, there was a directive from the Director General that we need to do something. The world is moving faster and faster. We are growing. We're getting more asks from the government. We are having completely new directions. We're not just into pharmaceuticals. We're not just keeping this läkemedelskollen, We are doing a lot of things. And it doesn't seem to stop either, Have you heard about fritidskortet? Yeah, that we're involved in that as well. It's not within health. Or is it? I don't know. But that's one of the things that we are involved in. That is actually making sure that kids can access activities in their free time. So that means we have to build the infrastructure for like a football team coach to be able to access the system so that people wanting to go to football training can get help paying that. So we're not just talking about the big regions anymore, we're talking about big and small institutions out there, sports, maybe private dads and moms is having some Excel sheet. They need to interact with us. So we need to do something, to be able to handle all of these changes. So what the Director General said was that we need to have a more product-focused organization. Because over the 10 years, it had been growing and growing and just adding on to this structure that they had. And now, seeing what's coming and knowing what's needed, we need a product-oriented organization. We need to focus on our customers. And we need to have a governance that is easy to understand, and we need to have a very clear follow-up so that we can make good decisions, data-driven decisions. We need to have lifecycle management of the agency's products. They have been running mostly projects, handing over to maintenance, not really looking into the lifecycle management of the products. And we need good working methods, sustainable work environment, and we need a long-term competency supply. Because what was happening, and actually still happening, is that when we get a new assignment, we also get more money. And then we need to have more people. Short term. So very much short-term decisions were happening. And they were saying, let's do something about this. And what we did about it, I was still not here. This is in January 2023, after this directive. There was a transformation team in place. And the transformation team was a group of people from within the agency, cross-functional team, managers and people just with a good history. And then there was a manager that was lent in from the Swedish tax agency. She had been working with their transformation, so she was lent in to actually run this team, and then also consultants. And I don't know if you joined in January or if you were later. No, but April, yeah, so soon after. And this team were focused on just establishing this more flexible and agile way of working with a product and customer focus. Transformation was driven by managers and employees, and there was support from this transformation team with a lot of experience. Just trying to make it right from the start. And also when they started, there was a survey made just trying to see what's the problems we're having and what could help us, what's the challenges here. So to the right is sort of the pitch line for the transformation. So there's a huge awareness here of what is needed to be done. So this agile way of working will contribute to our organizational ability. You know, we want business agility. And we need this because we get new conditions every day. There's a change in the environment happening every day. So there's really a burning platform here. And there's team that are going to take this on. The change, these are three of the things that were pinpointed for what we want to move from and to. So from a project-based oriented world to our stable long-lived teams that can take on or pull different tasks depending on priority. Going from this project handing over to maintenance, even if it's the same people, you know, they hand it over to most of themselves, to actually have these as the long-lived stable teams that can take full responsibility and work together on the lifecycle management of the product. And then lastly, going into a new model for budgeting the fixed teams and making sure that there is a process for prioritization of the things that are most important on several levels. And this was done, even if it wasn't really put out there, it was done following this well-known route. Start by taking the decision. Go towards something different than we have today. And we chose safe. Well, I wasn't part of it, but that's the decision. And it was chosen carefully, because at the point, talking 2 years back, agency wasn't that big. So the framework had to be implemented carefully. You know, it's a very big framework and a very small government agency. Even if it's growing, it's still small. But following the steps, there was a value stream identification done, and the trains were organized more or less around value. There was extensive training of everyone, and then trains were launched in March last year, all at once. And then learning and repeating started, and so as you understand, we're still just starting this journey. And just showing, this is just Swedish, just showing the steps. So deciding to actually do something and then choosing some kind of framework, finding the trains. This one, it's not really done yet, but it was there from the start. How do we actually change into a new economic framework? And how do we connect that to how we run our business? We did training, and then about a year ago, we actually had the first year planning, and we're doing it physically. So we're doing it because we all fitted, right? In one, we did, not anymore. we did fit. So now we're actually moving into having the first one, which is not everyone in the same room. We're sort of going over to being distributed and also being online in teams. We also did an extensive, so who do we train and when? And then, this is just one of the I'm not going to go into it, but we did this value stream identification workshops. And then sort of trying to we have been using a lot of the language from SAFE. English, not in all parts. And it works when we're working with the teams, when we're working with the trains. But one of the things that I think we're learning is that when we are moving towards involving the whole organization, we need to have a different vocabulary. We need to speak, like Jesper also said, we have to find a way to talking to them about the things, the principles, and what we want to do using a different language. Because when we are talking with safe terms, sort of, there's this blank out, stop listening. But this is one of the things that we brought in, that we have a triad of abilities on 3 levels. And the triad is working with the solution, and the way of working, and the backlog. In the portfolio, in the trains, and in the teams. They are reflected all the way. And this is something we brought in. And when we started a year ago with the trains, there were 4 trains. 3 of them product-oriented, more or less, value stream-oriented, and one of them being more of a mixture of a platform team, a system team for all of the different trains, and also complicated subsystem teams, the experts. Because even if we're constantly growing, the old project focus means that, quote, we do not have time to spread knowledge. So there are a lot of experts in here. But the intention of this sort of supporting train was that they were supposed to learn and move out the parts that should be closer to the product development. And that is actually happening right now. So, 2 years into the PI plan. This is actually Kalmar. Doing PI planning. And these are members of the C-level managers presenting where we're going to go. We're coaching them in trying to keep it short, and trying to actually be helpful. So where are we at? Well, looking at it, young, small, tech-oriented government agency. Should be fairly easy, right? Somehow, legacy comes in anyway. So having this initial technical solutions for the pharmacies sort of brought in legacy into that young government agency. And then bringing people in. People bring stuff in. So all of the people together are making sure that there's a culture that is not 10 years old. It's much older than that. So we're having the exact same challenges as everyone else doing a transformation, but we are getting more predictable. We are having teams that are more trying to say, nah, we cannot take more in now. But they're just starting, so we're still having a lot of planning this much, finishing this much, right? But they're aware of it now, and then we're working on trying to solve that. So we know that we will keep getting more assignments, and we need this ability, this agility to actually cope with that. There are high expectations on us, and I think that even if we don't talk about it, because we don't like to talk about scary stuff, government agencies might also be shut down. If we do not deliver on the high expectations, someone else will get the assignment, right? We don't talk about that, but I think we're aware of that. So we started out having top management support. There's buy-in, but again, then middle management. Support for them to actually do this in a good way might have been better. So they are trying to support the old way of working and the new way of working. Because somewhere in the beginning of this journey, the group, the transformation team, they pointed out that we have unclear priorities. We have a fear of making decisions on all levels. And we are sort of, we don't really know how to take on all of the new people that we are getting. And we think that if we keep growing like this, we're going to have a hard time keeping up with our deliveries and change at the rate we need to change at the same time. So there is a risk that we're not going to be able to, take the old ways of working away fast enough and replace them with the new structures. So there's a risk of us sort of running a little bit too fast and having to live with two different steering models at the same time. Trying to work agile, but still having a lot of the old left. Because change is happening so fast and we're sort of focusing on delivering. So there's a risk that we will end up there. Have we? Well, yeah. to some extent we have actually. So what is happening is a little bit of this. We are a government agency. We are also working within the medical area, so there are a lot of regulations we have to adhere to, controlling. There's a very strong hierarchy. Not that many people, very strong hierarchy. Also something I think is brought in from looking at the big government agencies that have gone this way are much bigger than us, have a different structure than us, and we still look at them for guidance, so to speak. So there's a lot of hierarchy, a lot of instructions, and instructions are followed. This is also something that means that when you get the framework, look like an instruction, So there was expectations on the framework to be just plug and play. It should solve the problems for us. Have you heard about that before? Yes. So very much following instructions and not really questioning if we end up with the right result, but more like if we do the right thing, and also like the engineers you talked about yesterday, like I will not show my stuff until it's done. So that means that we also have teams that during day one in PI planning are hesitant about showing their draft objectives because they're not good enough. And you can see, yeah. And if they do, they sort of make sure that it's called draft objectives, so that there's no misunderstandings there. So we have some things meeting here that makes up interesting discussions and some big things. So we have also, since we have been distributed Kalmar, Stockholm from the start, we have also been working in tools to support the way of working. So we like tools. And we had the good fortune of having one of our consultants being very good at tools. So we have the most perfect gyro confidence setup ever. We do. But that is also perfect for people not to do this. So it is good. It's actually very good, but it's also very easy for people to turn to the tool instead of turn to talking to each other. This is still something that we're working on. decentralized decision making, because hierarchy and the conversations actually happening on this level, not so much like this. Growing pains. We are growing, and we are actually not growing very, very fast. I can give you an example. Like if we had PR planning in November, and just a few weeks before, even if we knew for a long time that something was coming, here you go, 90 people, they need to plan with you in 3 weeks. Solve it. And we have to give the agency one thing, and that is that this is a super friendly, full of fantastic people agency, you know. They are very, very professional. They take responsibility and they get things done. But there's also a history of celebrating the heroes. So you do not get awarded for collaborating or solving problems together. You get awarded for making it happen yourself. So that's also something we're working with. So to sort of sum it up, since we started, we have had a continuously widening assignment, new solutions happening in a year to completely new value streams. And no process for really making that happen. So we are learning as we go. And this growing number of employees. So we're sort of building and learning at the same time. And meanwhile, there is a reorganization happening. Caution, moving parts. So I kind of describe what we're living with as a puzzle with moving parts. And the reorganization is actually a good thing, because one of the things that was spotted from the beginning was that unclear priorities, unclear responsibilities, and then a lot of assignments, and people not really being comfortable taking decisions. So we knew that we had to do something about people getting more willing to actually take responsibility and being business owners. And the transformation hasn't really made that happen. So the Director General said that, okay, we've been growing and growing and growing, and we need to do something about the line organization so that it better reflects the responsibilities in the product development organization. So that means that we will have to define clear responsibilities and clear business owners. Just a second. and that is going on as we speak. So this is sort of where we are at right now. But sort of what we are doing now in this constantly moving world is that we need to sort of start boosting everywhere, reminding people on what is it we're trying to do here. Even if everything is moving, we need to just continue towards, because we're not done yet. Even if there is sort of a feeling in the organization, hey, we've been at it a year, where are the results? And we have to like pull back and say, well, we just started, but we're going to have to go into some areas and level up, getting better at doing this, so that we eventually we can get the full effect of this. And one of the things we're doing, apart from leveling up the portfolio management, is also doing a business agility assessment soon to get help to actually see where we are at. Thank you.
Great, thank you. So I think there was someone with their hands up having a question.
Mika.
Yeah, just a quick question. I wonder if you implemented the concept of dual operating system, and if that was because of organizational changes, or if it was just new management that led to
Now, we have implemented a dual operating system. So what happened is that the line organization has misinterpreted the network as a separate organization, and it is now threatening the decision power of the line organization. So we haven't gotten the APIs between the two responsibilities working. So that is also a reason why we are doing the reorg.